Okay, we call this meeting to order, please. Before we start, I would like to, there's an addition to the agenda to vote on. 19, I'd like to change 19 to a request for decision, a letter of support for a CFAP grant for the Agriplex. And then the other numbers changed. So if we can
To
start off
accept?
with a motion to,
Motion to accept?
yeah,
Okay, motion to accept
the amendments.
the amendment of adding this to item number 19.
Well, why put it at 19?
Oh, that's just where I was told to put it.
Because you're supposed to.
We all have higher ups.
All amendments go to 19 from here on.
Okay, is there any questions about it? It's just a letter of support for a grant application. CTAP is coming up, so. Okay, if we could hear the question, please.
Moved by Councillor Schultz for unanimous consent to add the following to the agenda. Number 19, request for decision, letter of support, Willow Creek Egg Society.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, if somebody could adopt the amended agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt the amended agenda as amended.
Question, please.
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to that the agenda be accepted as amended.
Hey, pretty close.
That's what I meant.
All in favor? Carried. Regular meeting, August 13th. Any errors or omissions in there?
Yeah, my name was spelled with only one O.
Yeah, I found that
But-
today.
Oh my, that's pretty bad.
I did fix that, thank you.
Yay.
We'll get that corrected. Anything else? A motion to accept
A motion to accept minutes
with spelling and corrections.
with spelling correction.
For Councillor Ward.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, we're going into bylaw 1653, tax penalty bylaw. First reading. Marion, you want to give us a rundown on
Just
that?
a point of order,
We got-
you have a delegation first.
FCSS.
Oh, I skipped right over it. I am so sorry.
You didn't want to speak.
Okay, we will have the delegation. I did skip right
Oh,
over
I
it.
skipped it too.
So I wasn't alone.
Hi, Barb.
Hi,
Barb,
thank
you're
you.
back.
Back. I was away. So good evening. Thank you for having me. My purpose here is to share with you a survey that we have prepared for our needs assessment. FCSS did one in 2014, and I think the past council found it quite useful for some of the information that was found. What my purpose would be in sharing it is I'd like you all to look it over, and if there's any questions that you feel shouldn't be included, then let me know, we'll take them off. And if there's any questions that you'd like added or asked, then we can add those as well. So what you have right now is just a draft. It has gone to my board, and there was a few small changes made, and then it's come to you. So the purpose of the needs assessment is to identify the key areas in our community for FCSS to plan the future of how they're going to spend their money on certain programs or strategic placements, things like that. It's also useful for a lot of other social entities, I guess, as well in town. Anybody can look at it and use it. So we've come up with 40 questions that we would like to put on SurveyMonkey, and it could be anonymously done so that people will feel free to share their answers. Also, we'd like to put hard copies around town, and people can return those to certain places, probably here in FCSS. And we also hope to put together a few specific questions just teen related. We want to go to the high school and talk to the teens. And we also have a few questions that Allison and I would like to visit some coffee places and just sit down and have a little coffee chat with some people in town. Certain questions like, what do you feel is unique about Claresholm? What do you think maybe could be unique about Claresholm? Why do you like being here, and then we'll scribe the answers. And so our intent is to compose all the answers from all the questions that we ask, and we will submit a report to you as well at the end of it all, so that everybody will be able to look at it. We'll have it online. We are also hoping to put the survey in the newspaper, as we did in 2014 too. People can do that one as well if they'd like. So just the information is good for us, so we know what direction that we need to take for planning some programs and things like that. We also have some questions on here about other agencies that we have from working in the station, so we know, how much use those are getting, like if people are aware of them and things like that too. So my ask is just that you go through the questions and let us know if you like them, if you think they're good, or if there's something else that maybe the council would like to know from the survey.
There's an easy way to do the survey online. On our website there will be.
Yeah, we'll have links that'll take us into, Blair has suggested that we can use the Survey Monkey that the town can buy like monthly or something, so we'll put it on for a month.
And how will you advertise it for people to go there?
We can send a link out, and it'll be in the newspaper, and it'll be on our webpage, and we'll have other people share on Facebook.
We'd probably get it on the town site also,
Yeah,
could we
we
not?
could.
That's where we'll put, yeah,
We
we'll
put it
put it
there.
there.
Yeah, and maybe, I haven't asked, but maybe a water bill, we could just put the link in, a water bill, like on the
Could do
bottom
that,
of
cause
it.
they're all email
Yeah.
now, so.
Yeah.
Easily put a link there.
So this is just basically a general thing. Allison and I spent this summer and we did a lot of research from our 2014 assessment that we did. We also went online and looked at other FCSS assessments that they've done with their towns as well. So that's where it's pretty much come from. Any other questions?
Oh, that's good. Great.
So when do you plan to post? Are you waiting for a response from towns? You'd like
Yes.
to know for the next meeting?
Sure.
Or, and if we
when
have
you get
feedback before
time,
that?
yeah, if you get feedback, and then as soon as it's all approved here, then we'll continue with putting it forward to the community.
Okay.
So we'll put it on the agenda for next.
So we'll remember to respond.
Bring back, actually, try and get your suggestions into Marion ahead of time, and then we'll have them all formatted, and then we can talk about it.
And it can even be the format of the questions as well. Like we tried one at the end. There's a few questions with a 4-point scale. So if you think of something better than that, then let us know.
Then October would be the month we would choose to run it.
Well, as soon as you yeah, I guess as soon as you prepared what you think is best, and then we'll send it out.
So the sooner we get the response to Barb, the sooner she can
Sooner she
get
gets
it out
going.
there.
Sounds logical.
Okay. Anything else?
No, it sounds great.
Okay. Thank you very much for listening.
Sorry for missing you a bit.
Oh,
a minute
no
ago.
worries. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Barb.
Okay, now we'll move on to bylaw 1653, tax penalty bylaw. Marion.
So in 2011, there was a tax penalty bylaw passed, and that was bylaw number,
63.
1563. And then in 2014, there was an amendment made to that bylaw just to change the current tax date to June 30th from August 31st. When the amending bylaw was passed in 2014, there was a clerical error. The bylaw talks about an amendment to the tax penalty bylaw, and then at the end it says it's actually rescinding bylaw 1563. So rather than bringing another amendment forward, when I discovered this, I just created a new bylaw, and we're putting it before you tonight as bylaw number 1653. There's no change to the new bylaw, it's just condensing those two into one. So it's still the June 30th tax deadline as well as the 14% penalty rate that was in the current bylaws. So we'd be looking for first reading on that tonight.
I can
just-
make the motion that we, or do you want to talk about it?
I just got one, and I don't know if it matters or not. Is there a reason why the title is 1653, but the footnote is 1563?
That's true.
We can just change the footnote on that, thank you.
Okay.
That's a good catch. Okay, Gavin.
That's all I had.
Still looking for that footnote. Oh, there it is. Yes, I'll make the motion to give bylaw 1653 first reading.
Any other discussion, questions?
14%. How did we arrive at that?
That's a good question.
That's been in place since back, at least in 2011, when the original bylaw was passed. I didn't look previous to that, but it was a rate that was established by council at that time.
Perfect. Any other
Suits
questions?
me fun.
Okay, question please.
Moved by Counselor Moore to give bylaw number 1653, the tax penalty bylaw, first reading.
All in favor? Carried. Next, the delegation response, Claresholm Citizens on Patrol. This was the group that came forward last council requesting funding for advertising, fuel, et cetera, et cetera. Any comments on it?
Do we have that money to give for that? We haven't before.
It's
But-
something new, and that's what we're gonna discuss. So,
It's
you
a great
guys,
idea, I think.
I'm a bit concerned because at that meeting, we spent a lot of time talking to Mr. Barlow about rural crime.
This is it.
this is one of the steps that can help. And the $2,500 could be found in reserves. I mean, it's not the money issue, it's the fact that, do we wanna step forward and fund this? I mean, we used to have Citizens on Patrol, it did fall apart years ago. I mean, it's definitely, if it can prevent one crime a month, it's beneficial. And these people are doing it on volunteer time, they're not being paid for their time, so,
And vehicles and gas and
Photocopying and,
yeah.
yeah.
So they're looking for some funds to pay for the expenses, not themselves, so it's still, and they wanna start looking for more volunteers too, so. Any comments, any other questions, or?
I think it's money well spent for $208 a month. That's pretty good value on volunteer time as far as I'm concerned.
Be nice
Can
if they
I-
could get more of a presence out there, image or
Mm-hmm.
signage or something. Citizens.
we get cards in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of your business?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In business, yeah.
That they checked it.
And
Yeah.
the date.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important.
Please?
Yeah, I guess my only query would be if this is from running the town, can I seek Marion's counsel? I'm just curious from that perspective, because I'm sure there's other delegations that might come forward, so can I ask Marion for
Yeah,
her
you-
perspective
Marion,
on that?
what
Can
do
I
you
ask
think?
you for your opinion on it?
Sure. As the mayor said, we can probably find $2,500 in the budget. One thing I think that you want to be aware of, though, is that this is probably going to be then an annual budget expense. It's not a one-off, right? So just to be aware of that, that
Mm-hmm.
if you commit, you're probably committing to annual funding as we move forward.
But the other nice thing about this, almost like a trial run, you put it forward and when it comes up for budget renewal, it definitely will end up staying on there. But by then we'll also know if it's functioning.
So could we say that would be our, I guess caveat or
Well,
stipulation?
you're never guaranteeing them funds in the future. You're
Right.
simply guaranteeing them funds right now.
Yeah.
Is that not correct, Marion?
Yes, every year your budget gets passed and all those line items are part of your budget
Right.
considerations and your donations to other organizations as well. I agree that I think it's a valuable asset to have in the community. You were talking about signage, and you can actually get signs for the highway that says this is a Citizens on Patrol community. So, we could look into that as well if the organization continues to flourish, so.
Is there any way we can ask for a report?
Well, we can certainly
Like,
ask them, but I'm not sure. Like, I guess they could tell us when they patrol, and we definitely could ask them.
I think we should.
Because we're giving them public funds, they should be accountable.
Accountable.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody willing to make a
Do
motion?
they? I'm wondering if do they not give a report to the RCMP?
Well, I think they mentioned that in their thing that they
Right,
did.
so when you have
we
the,
can- if we could get a
the
copy of
emergency
that.
services meeting, when we have those, they can,
Yeah.
the
well,
corporal or sergeant can bring COP reports in.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
it would be.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about the right meeting
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They could submit monthly reports to the RCMP.
Well, I'm sure they said they do, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, just tonight they get a debrief out.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Any other questions, or? Anybody have a motion they'd like to make?
I'll make the motion that we support Citizens on Patrol with $2,500.
Any other questions? Question, please.
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to support Claresholm Citizens on Patrol with a donation of $2,500 to assist them with their patrolling efforts in Claresholm area.
All in favor? Carried. I guess I have to mark everything here. Okay, next item, correspondence. The Honorable Shannon Phillips, Minister of Environment and Parks. Marion?
This is just an update on the Alberta Community Resilience Program. So the province has continued to support that program to the tune of $33 million. We were not successful in our second round application, but we do have some money that we're able to use from our original grant to start work on phase 2. So in the letter, she's just stating that she knows our project's ongoing, so.
Okay.
We'll take it for information.
Mhm.
Correspondence. The Honorable Shay Anderson, Minister of Municipal Affairs. This was an interesting one. With everything that's gone on in our first year and trying to get an audience with him, it's interesting how we didn't make the cut. But anything to comment on, Marion?
Just that I did make the request to the minister to meet with him at AUMA, and as you said, due to the large number of meeting requests that he had, he's unable to fit us in, so. We won't be meeting with him, but we could, if you still want, we can try and set up a session with him in Edmonton.
I guess for future discussion.
Okay.
Do you guys feel that?
We can table that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I feel too.
Yeah.
You know, the only reason I would put forward that we should have talked to him is because we had the opportunity and we did not make a special trip. But to spend the money to send 2 or 3 of us to Edmonton to talk to him about something he'll do nothing about, I think it'd be a waste of taxpayers' money, so. I think we can let this one slide. That's my opinion. Are we all okay with that? We'll just take this for information.
Information.
Correspondent, Alberta Transportation, Southern Region, Marion.
So again, I made a request to Alberta Transportation to meet with them at AUMA, and they have given us an audience on Wednesday, September 26th at 4:30. We'll be meeting with Darren Davidson, who's the regional director, and Jerry Lau, who's the infrastructure manager. And the topic of discussion will be the extension of the speed zones on the north and south end of town.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
So that's great,
Yeah, that's really
because
good.
it would be nice to slow, another
Hear it in
method to
person,
slow
yeah.
them down coming into town,
Yeah.
so. So we got that one. So that's information.
Excellent.
Correspondence, Livingston Range School Division, electoral ward boundary review. Marion, you wanna touch on that?
Yeah, so this is just a letter from Livingston Range School Division. Their board has authorized the electoral ward boundary review, and so they're working with the ministry to determine what the parameters of that will be, and they're just asking for our support if the consultant is looking for information from the town. So it's been quite some time since they've had a boundary review, and so they just want to make sure from population and geographically that the boundaries are, I guess, equal.
Equal.
There's equality in that.
Do we need a motion for you to release that information if they approach you, or do we just take it for information
No,
at this time?
Just for information.
Information at this time? Perfect. Correspondent, Alberta Urban Municipality Association, the resolution book is out. Well, let Marion explain it. I can explain it to you, but she's much more.
So at the AUMA convention, there will be a number of resolutions put forward by communities, and you experienced that last year at convention, and you each have an opportunity then to vote on those resolutions. So the link is there. We didn't print off the resolution handbook, of course, and put it in your package, but you can link to that site. And I would suggest that you review those resolutions prior to. I have gone through and reviewed them. Nothing really jumped out at me that I felt I needed to bring to your attention, but I think going into the conference with an understanding of what you're going to be voting on is important.
Okay.
You reviewed them. There was a quick question. I haven't reviewed them yet, but is there anything about the police funding that the AUMA was pushing 6 months ago?
There is no
There's no
further,
re-
I don't recall one on police funding,
Perfect.
but I'd have to go back through them again.
No, I hope there is nothing on there. Okay, we'll move on. Correspondence, Alberta Recreation Parks Association, Communities Choose Well Award winner. Marion.
So Denise put in a nomination, and Claire Soman's been selected as a winner of the Choose Well Healthy Community Award for 2018, and that will be receiving the Creating Supportive Environments Award, and that will be given out on October 25th at the ARPA conference in Jasper, and so I plan on sending Denise to accept that award on her behalf. So.
Nice. Done. Thanks, Denise.
Perfect.
That's cool.
Correspondence, Chinook Arch Regional Library System, budget and member levy. Marion?
So in your package is the Chinook Arch Regional Library plan of service for the next 4 years, and their proposed budgets for that, and there is an impact on our, obviously on our budgets because we are a member of Chinook Arch. Dollar-wise, in 2019 and 20, it's $605 difference in what we paid in 2018, and then in 21 and 22, it's another additional $454 for those years. So it's not a significant impact, but there is, you know,
Nice to know.
It's an impact, yeah.
And just to point out, the library board, so they requisition, or it's like a requisition to the municipality, but then they also get a fee from the library itself, and that is proposed to remain the same over those 4-year period.
Yeah, I saw that. It stays flat. Any questions? Thank you for information. Correspondence, Terry Fox Run, September. Do we need a motion?
Yeah, they're requesting a motion because they need support of a certain percentage of support
Oh,
of the
okay.
member municipalities, so, sorry, I should have had that in there as a resolution.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in there, so I was sorry.
I move that we pass the motion for the proposed municipal levy schedule.
Okay.
And then send a copy of the council resolution to the Chinook Arch by November 9th, 2018.
Question?
Moved by Councilor Schultz to approve the Chinook Arch Library Board 2019 to 2022 municipal levy schedule as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Terry Foxron. Every year they use the fire hall as a meeting spot. They're inviting you guys to go run with them. How do you think of that, Brad?
Can I walk?
Always.
You're gonna walk right beside Lisa.
We're gonna walk fast though.
Anyways, it's just an invitation to join them,
Participate.
They-
participate.
Or
yeah,
just
they've
say a
also
word.
asked for one of the counselors to just say a few words, so if someone is attending, I should get back to them and let them know who will be there.
I'll go.
One of us will go.
Okay.
You-
We'll walk together?
We should all go.
That'd be fun.
We should all walk
I'll
together.
be there, so if you would like to speak.
You
to
can walk it
you're
twice,
welcome
do
to
one
do
for
that.
me
But
then.
you're going for sure?
I'll be there with you, but you won't be.
Okay.
No, I think it doesn't always have to be me doing the speaking.
No.
Just, you guys pick on me a lot.
I think Lee should speak this time.
No, that'd be great if Lise wants to speak. I think, if you guys show your face around there, it'd be great too. If you want to participate, we'll leave it up to you guys. Okay, we'll move on. Claresholm District Chamber of Commerce invitation to the Claresholm Business Conference. Is anybody here planning on attending this? 2, 3.
Yeah.
I'm going Friday night for sure. I may go tomorrow.
No, I've got to get the Cottonwood. Otherwise, I plan to. I really wanted to hear him speak. Doug Griffiths. I think that'd be fantastic.
I've heard him speak before, but it's still.
Yeah, and Herky too. But that's on Saturday. I plan to go on the Saturday.
Well, it's just for information, and if you can be there, that'd be
You
great.
need to get registered for the conference.
Yeah.
If you're
Okay.
planning to attend, you'll need to register.
You gotta remember to phone your chamber rep. Greg, that's your job. You
I'm
live with
working.
her, you live with her.
Yeah.
I missed who said they were going to attend, sorry, Brad, yourself.
Oh,
Keith?
are you gonna register us?
I can register you if you like.
I'm already registered.
You're already done.
I think we could do
I
that
think we handle
ourselves.
Big
ourselves.
boys.
Well, I just wondered why Marion was asking the question.
I'm just making notes.
Just making notes, okay. No, I think it's something new for Claresholm, so I think it'd be pretty cool.
It looks really good. I'm super proud of Amanda and that board.
Yeah, it's a
really great
big
idea.
step. And it
Mhm.
might, if depending on how it goes, it might become an annual thing.
Totally.
There's a lot of cool stuff that they're doing too.
Yeah, the
Speakers.
one I wanna go to is at, what was it?
The mental health one
Oh, that one.
with special guest speaker Mike Huller.
Oh.
He's here to give us a sample of what he's got to say, right? No, the attrition, selling, moving on. There's a few
That's awesome.
interesting ones.
There is.
Okay, we'll move on. Correspondence, Claresholm Recreation, invitation to the grand opening of the arena
Yeah.
on September 24th. If any of you can attend, there'll be a burger in it for you.
I'll be there. Oh, I may not be able to do the Terry Fox round, but I could do a burger.
Anyways, the ribbon cutting's at 11,
Yes.
because I plan on being there at 11, but I got a meeting in Lethbridge at 1, so I'm only gonna be able to stay for 40 minutes.
One burger.
Bring your skates, it's open skating for
Really?
the community and we'll put a little barbecue on.
Oh, really?
Jeez, I
Oh,
could bring
cool.
a hip.
That's awesome.
And that night, minor hockey starts, so
Oh, right
we'll be
on.
the
Yeah,
first,
it's pretty cool.
first people on the ice.
Perfect.
Just put her in your date, your planners, Monday, September 24th. Correspondence, Don Campbell, request for referendum. I received this letter, and me and Marion talked about it, and my feelings on this are, we've already, as a council, we've moved ahead. We've agreed to it. We've given out the contract for the architecture. We've contacted the abatement company. We've hired a project manager. We've taken a stand, we've stepped forward, and we picked a direction. So in
And-
my mind, I think this is mute, like, but I'd like to hear from you guys.
Well, I know some of the boards that I serve on that are in this building that will be moving, they're already moving through with applying for all the grants, so that's well in motion as well, so it's not just us that have decided. Many of the other organizations that are moving into it are well on their way
Well on their
into
way.
applying for funding for it. So
I
I
agree.
feel like it's,
It's-
we've already decided we have the big open house.
And we have the support.
Yeah, we did our diligence. We talked to the townspeople. I mean, we had huge turnout for it. And
Yeah,
it was almost unanimous, the support, so. I feel it's too late at this time to turn back. We've already spent a lot of money.
yeah, and I feel like we've made a decision.
We have,
Just because another person has another opinion doesn't mean we have to
Yeah.
agree to it.
so if it's okay, I'd like to just take this for information. Can we do that? Do we have to make a motion to?
There's no motion required, but we will respond. We'll send a letter.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Moving on. Second request for a property tax penalty appeal, Dave Wicks. Marion?
So, there was a request for consideration of waiving of the penalty, if you recall. And, after the decision of council, I did send a letter to Mr. Wicks, and he's just got a second appeal of that, penalty waiver. And he would just like council to consider and negotiate a fair settlement is his terminology he used in the matter. So, as it was addressed to council, I brought it forward.
Can I ask, what was the fire call?
Yes,
You don't know?
well, yeah,
Probably can't say.
Can't say,
well, I shouldn't disclose that.
but it's a legitimate bill on the bill. You can,
Yes,
that was what I was direction I was heading at. It was legitimized, I mean, just, if somebody called the fire department, then somebody's gotta pay for it. Any comments?
No, I read it, and I mean, it's laid out in the bylaw. I don't know where anything is unfair. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree, it's his statement that he moved and we didn't forward it to the correct. Every town, the tax bills come out and payable at the end of June in Alberta, and he paid his taxes on other property. So, you know, it's like in the bylaws, it's his responsibility to inform us and change his addresses, not our responsibility to chase him down.
And I got the impression it's more of he said, she said, that his perspective is that he's given the information, it's just the town is
Yeah.
saying no. But how do you refute?
Well, he still should have been doing his diligence too, and looking for the bill. And he does admit in there he probably should have been looking for the bill, but our bylaw is clear. I don't see any comeback here.
Responsibility of a property owner as far as I'm concerned, so. You're responsible for your taxes as a property owner and
Yeah, I agree. So can we just send a letter back, or do we need a motion?
well, you already have a motion
So
on
this
record
is-
unless you
this
want to
is mute.
rescind that motion.
No.
No. Okay, if you just send him a letter stating our stance. Request for decision, tax sale property, Marion, that's the triplex.
Yes, so, the triplex property went for auction on August 21st, as you were aware. There was no bids on that property, so now we need to determine whether we're going to take that over, as a municipality. So The process for tax recovery is complete, so we do have the authority at this point in time to transfer that title into our name. So that's one option. The second option is, if we do transfer it into our name, do we want to amalgamate those titles? It's currently under a condo, so it's 3 separate titles. And, you know, we may want to seek some legal opinion because there's some building code issues on that property as well. And maybe at this time, we don't want to take it over until we understand what the implications of that might be. But, you know, I'm also comfortable to just transfer it into the town's name and we proceed with trying to sell the property and get it dealt with.
Well, I think that's the only way we're gonna get this piece of property dealt with is if the town takes it over. And then we could, once we take ownership of it, we can get a proper appraisal done on it, which will reduce the value substantially, because the building is not worth restoring. So if we reduce it to the right value, and then the town can look at demolition and reclaiming the lot.
That's where
But if
that building is at, it's just,
It can be fixed, any
It is
building can be
repairable.
fixed, but
If it went to bid and nobody bid on it, what makes you think we can sell it any better?
well, yeah, well,
It's
The
an open
problem
bid
is it's-
before you
it's
can
a-
bid whatever you want, right? Somebody
Yeah.
could've came in and just been
well, there was,
$100,000.
we had to get the assessment back out of it on the, it wasn't an open tender, like no limit.
Yeah, so there's a reserve bid that
Oh,
was put on the,
okay.
on the auction, and we used the assessed value as the reserve bid.
Yeah.
So,
And there
as the
wasn't
mayor
any
said,
hits.
if we get an up-to-date appraisal on the property, we may determine that, you know, it's not truly the assessed value, but perhaps less.
I'm imagining it's an actual and negative value, because the demolition of the property is gonna be more than the building's worth. But to leave it sit there and not take responsibility for it is just simply prolonging the situation, because it's been left, it's been abandoned, so.
So I do think we need to push the 3 into one.
I would wait on that, cause that's another expense also. I would wait until we take possession, like just a suggestion. Take possession, get the appraisal done, and then decide what to do, because it costs money to amalgamate the titles also. So, let's break it down and find out what's the most economical way to get rid of it.
So the first thing we would do is we'd take it over.
Take it over, then we control it.
Then decide what goes from there, not just jump in and nilly-willy make something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, if you do it step by step, take it over,
Right.
get the appraisals done on it, and then set a game plan out, the most viable game plan we can come up with.
Is there any repercussions on selling it for less than appraised value?
Well, that, it would have to be appraised, and then there can be repercussions on.
Okay.
And that's why I'd like to see the appraisal lowered first.
What the implication is of selling it for less than market value is there's some risk exposure there that the previous owner could come back and claim that we sold it for less than market value, so there's a loss. Because we get to keep, in a tax sale property, we get to keep our taxes and any expenses related, plus a small administrative fee. And the rest has to go to the courts to be awarded to other creditors. So that's where your risk lies.
So we want fair market value.
Yeah, but we want the assessment.
Is the live stream working?
It's been bouncing around, but I
Apparently-
can't really do anything about it. I don't know
Okay,
why
I'm getting
it's-
texts saying
yeah,
it's not working.
Yeah, it's just, it says it's working, and I mean, the only thing I can think of is the internet, but the internet's up, so I'm not sure why. I'm just letting it do its thing, cause I think
That's all
if I
we
start
can do.
mucking with it, it's gonna make it worse. But yeah, it has been a little sporadic tonight.
Okay, so we need a motion to do something on this. Anybody willing to make a motion that we take it back?
Make a motion to do something?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we take the,
Triplex?
in for tax purpose foreclosure and then make decisions from there.
I'm sure Corinne's got it worded perfectly in there.
Well, Marion.
Oh.
Moved by Councillor Zimmer for the town of Clarkson to assume ownership of 232, 234, and 236 50th Avenue West under tax recovery regulations.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Request for decision, Play School CFAP project support and funding. Marion?
The Learn a Lot Play School is applying for a CFIP grant under the small stream grant. And that's for their portion of what we've estimated the cost of their portion of the multi-use building is $244,000, so they're applying for 50% of that, $122,107.50, and the town requested funds then, which is in our budget
Yep.
for the multi-use facility, is $122,107.50 as well. So they need a letter of support for the grant application as well as a commitment of those funds from the town.
I make that motion that we support.
Provide letter of support. Any other comments before? Question?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to provide a letter of support and commitment for municipal funding in the amount of $122,107.50 for the Clarkson Learn a Lot Play School CFIP grant application for the multi-use community building.
All in favor? Carried. Request for decision, daycare, same situation for the CFAP grant. Marion?
Yes, so in this, the same, for their share of the multi-use, we've estimated that to be $460,000, so they're applying for CFIP under the large stream. So for half of that is $230,013.50. And then, again, they need letter of support and a commitment of those funds from the town.
I'll make that motion.
Councillor
Provide letter of
Carlson?
support.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Carlson to provide a letter of support and commitment for the municipal funding in the amount of $230,013.50 for the Clarkson Child Care Society's CFIP grant application for the multi-use community building.
All in favor? Carried. A request for decision, library 2019 CFAP project. Marion?
So as a follow-up to the August 13th meeting, Mike met with Alex at the library and they talked about some of the projects that they were proposing to apply for under the CFAP. The carpet is in fair condition, so it doesn't necessarily need to be replaced in 2019, but needs to be cleaned and will need to be replaced within the next 2 to 3 years. The lighting replacement should be done because there's some energy savings there and cost savings for the library board. And then as well, they agreed that the HVAC units are probably good for another 4 years or so. And so our recommendation is that they work on the CFIP application for the May 15th intake and that they combine the lighting and the carpet project into one application and that the HVAC units remain as is.
Any questions? Anybody want to make a motion?
I can make the motion. First one.
First
Is
one?
there two?
There's two. First one is for a letter of commitment for municipal funding of $6,340, that one?
Yeah, I would do that one.
Question?
Sorry.
We're getting ahead of her.
There really wasn't any motions on this one. So moved by Councillor Moore to provide a letter of commitment for municipal funding up to $6,340 for the Town of Clarkson Public Library Board's CFIP grant application, matching funds for their flooring replacement project and defer funding to 2019 budget discussions.
All in favor? Carried.
Oh, that's right.
Option two is
I'll move,
Just-
council.
No, just, let me read this here. Yeah, okay, we're okay.
Is that okay? Because the other one is postponing it,
Yeah.
Yeah, deferring it, okay.
deferring.
So I move to defer the HVAC and flooring replacement to the 2019 budget discussions.
We won't.
No,
No.
just the
Yeah, we won't
HVAC.
need that motion because
Just
we've
the
got a
first.
motion
Oh, just the
now
first
to-
one's the
Yeah,
only
you-
one.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they're not-
Don't you need the
We'll do the
HVAC to
flooring,
defer
We'll
it?
do the flooring
No,
and the
because we
lighting
won't be
this
dealing
Yeah.
with that, that'll be
and
in our
that
capital
defers the
replacement
Okay.
This one
plan
would
for our
defer the
5-year
floor
plan.
as well.
I thought, yeah, I
So
thought
we're
the
gonna
flooring
do the
replacement
lighting
should
and
be
the
in there,
flooring
the
on the
HVAC
first
should,
one.
so.
We'll
Oh,
just put it into
together.
the capital
Together,
plan.
and
Pardon
me.
then, and then that defers the HVAC for.
So we'll move
Okay.
on to the new 19, which is a request for CFAP letter of support for the Agriplex. Marion?
So the Ag Society is applying for the CFEP grant, and it's to continue work on their new arena. And they are applying for $125,000, and they will match that with their own funds. So what they're looking for from the town is just a letter of support because we're the owners of the facility. The land is registered in our name.
Any questions on that?
Nope.
We need a motion?
Yeah.
I can make the motion that we write a letter of support to the Agriplex.
Okay.
I suppose
Question.
it has to be in right away, hey, that's why
Yeah,
they
it's
put
all
the rush.
becoming
Yeah.
sensitive.
The deadline is
Uh,
15.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Moore to write a letter of support towards the Willow Creek Ag Society's application to the Community Facility Enhancement Program, CFIP grant, for the purpose of the completion of the interior of the new riding facility recently constructed at the Claresholm Agriplex.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, number 20 is a request for decision, policy GA 09-18, cell phone for business use. Marion?
So what we've created here is just a formal policy around the use, purchase, replacement, and ownership of cell phones and other devices that the town employees use or have access to. And there's never been anything formal, and so it's sort of been up in the air. We end up paying for things probably we shouldn't, or not paying for things we should. So we've just formalized this policy. Basically what it does is it allows employees to have a certain level of phone based on what their needs are. Some require, for instance, the water treatment plant require additional data usage because of, and capability of their phone because they communicate with the plant and those kind of things. So it leaves it in my discretion to determine that, and then if they want to keep their own personal cell phones, then again, it's in my discretion as to how much we'll reimburse based on what I assume to be their need for a cell phone. If they want to get a higher end phone, then it would be up to the employee to do the difference, and then they can get a higher level phone. So this policy was presented to the Administrative Services Committee on September 4th, and they are recommending that council approve the policy.
Any questions?
Would these be considered on that?
No.
No.
For town employees, I guess, right? Just for people who are actually.
Well,
employees
these,
of the town.
this is cell phones only, these are not in the same category.
I make the motion we adopt policy GA 05-18 as presented.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to adopt policy number GA 09-18, the business cell phone policy effective September 10, 2018, as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Request for decision, land inquiry, skating rink on municipal property, Marion.
So the Development Department received a request from a resident on Tamarack Road, and they're requesting that the vacant lot that's owned by the town adjacent to them, they be allowed to use that to put a outdoor skating rink. There's some considerations that I think council needs to consider, is that land currently is for sale. once we were able to relieve that setback requirement from the old landfill, then some of those lots became available for sale. Also, there's potential for liability because the town owns the land, so if you were to consider this, I think it needs to be a formal lease with consideration for the liability to be taken on behalf of the individual. And the other consideration is it is zoned residential, and so it's a little bit outside of the land use bylaw because there's no primary use on that lot. It would be a vacant lot. So if there was a home there, they would be able to put the skating rink in the backyard and it would be fine, but there is some zoning considerations there. But I think if council deems it appropriate to move forward, then we could put a lease agreement together, and I think we would be able to cover the town.
Yeah, we could.
And it would
push
just
that
be
through.
used by them.
No.
We would just take no responsibility.
Well, in the lease agreement, you would have to have it, the town's not anything to do with it. They would have to produce a liability insurance policy to get the lease in effect, and they would have to maintain it.
We could make that lease for $1.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
it's not a funding.
Doesn't,
Yeah, no, I get that part, but just so that the town's not liable.
It's the liability, this day and age, liabilities,
Used to be a simpler time, isn't it?
well, yes, it was a way simpler time back, even
But
10 years ago.
It is still possible.
Oh, it would be great for the community, for the kids over in that area to have a nice surface, and if this person's willing to put it in, the only drawback is they're gonna have to have insurance.
They're not that, my thing is they're not that far from the rink. That's just down the road.
You
Yeah, but
remember,
that's
you remember when you played hockey though?
I do, and that lot's for sale, right? When a,
there would
like
have
if
to be.
Santana and stuff are selling a house, you declutter. You make your house look good. It's an empty lot, it's for sale. I don't think we should put a rink on it.
I would argue that it enhances the community, and if you're looking to move into this community and see this community's willing
Then,
to.
then
it
put
that
it,
way.
then put it on a piece of town property, not a,
It is town property.
not a lot that's
It
for
is town
sale.
property.
Not a
But
lot
it's
that's
also
for sale.
winter time when the lots don't sell very well anyways. I mean, it's a debate, right? It's,
And it could be written in that if the lot does go for sale, that it would have to be removed. But
And clean up, like,
Yeah.
come spring, it's gotta be cleaned up, so
Yeah.
I want stipulations on
well, there
that.
has to be,
I worry about the cost factor on their end afterwards, because I'm assuming that any insurance policy is going to deem that it has to be fenced, and
I would wonder,
so
Yeah, I think it would be a pain in the butt.
I'm guessing
I'm
this will
sure.
become too much of a burden to do.
Yeah.
But certainly, I'd like to see him be allowed to try.
Mhm.
And as far as, Councillor Carlson mentioned about, well, if it sells, we pull it off. If we allow an ice rink to go on it, you can pull it off, but it will be undiggable because the ice will penetrate triple far.
yeah.
And it will be unusable for this winter season.
And other than
So it's something to take into consideration.
last winter, when was the last time an outdoor rink would have actually flown?
So that's why they went by the wayside, because they just stopped
Yeah.
being functional.
Yeah.
I think it'll start a,
Slippery
I
slope.
think it'll just start a, then another guy will wanna have his type of thing on another empty lot in town, and then next thing you know, you got every empty lot in town that's for sale is gonna have every hillbilly flea market on it, basically.
But we still control it.
Yeah, I think it,
It's an ice rink, not a.
but it's not their land to put it on. That land is for sale. It's not, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I hear you, Keith.
No, it's nice, it's
Yeah.
viable.
We did that when I was a kid. My dad flooded the empty lot next to ours. I don't know if he asked for permission, but he made it happen.
Probably
It
not.
was privately owned. The one next door to you was privately owned. No, it's, just, if there's interest, there's interest, if not, that's fine, I mean, it's just out there for a request for you guys to see what you think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it if they're willing to jump through all the hoops. I think it makes a community pretty sweet if there's,
Yeah.
and
Well, I
I
grew
just
up
don't
on
imagine it being
outdoor rink.
viable.
I make a motion that we approve it with a $1 lease and stipulations that it be cleaned up in the spring.
And the
Zero
insurance.
liability.
And
And
the,
insurance,
All that
all
comes
the,
with lease
they're gonna
agreement.
get to
Yeah.
leak through.
I'm guessing it'll be financially too,
Wow, I can't
Restricted.
imagine getting insurance
I don't know what
for a
that would
public
cost.
piece of ice.
No idea what
Insurance
that
for
would
the play
cost.
school is crazy.
I have enough issues with dealing with parking lots.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I'm waiting for Corinne to give the nod.
Yep.
She's concentrating again. That is about the shortest haircut I've ever seen.
Do you get it cut at the guy here in town?
No, we were running through Okotoks. Normally, yes.
I thought maybe you were gonna go try out, be a cadet or something.
I can make it shorter.
Oh, and
There's less to cut than there used to be. I can make it real short. When I took the big to it, my wife turned around and said they had it.
You still got enough hair.
Oh, sorry, I have one more question. So, do these people, do they need to check with their neighbors to make sure they're neighbors? No, there's nobody on the other side of them,
There's nobody on the other side.
so that.
They're kinda on the edge of town.
yeah, put the legal address.
Nope,
Site cleared up on notice of
it's
sale.
now broadcasting live.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it wasn't for a while.
Huh? Good.
To request, oh, who's that last again? What's his name? Dave Perez. Okay,
All right, let's hear what you got.
moved by Councillor Schlossberger to approve the request from Dave Perez to create an outdoor rink on the empty lot located at, and we will have the legal land description, with the stipulation that he signs a lease agreement for $1 per year, that he carries liability insurance for a minimum of $2 million, that he names the town of Claresholm as an additional named insured, that the site be cleaned up in the spring of 2019, and that the site will be cleared upon notice of sale of the property.
Can at least be 6 months, cause 1 year would take her into,
We didn't say 1 year.
I said,
$1
per
$1.
year, I said
It's just
$1
$1
per year, yeah, so $1 per, yeah, okay, as long as we don't make the lease for that long. Any other questions about it? All in favor of the motion as read? Opposed? Carried. Request for decision. Marion, Atco Gas franchise.
So, Gas has a franchise agreement with the town which gives them exclusive rights to provide natural gas services within the community. As part of that franchise agreement, we get a fee, and that's set at 10%. And that franchise agreement was signed in 2005. I believe it's a 20-year agreement. The rate has not changed, but annually, prior to, I believe it's November 15th or November 1st, we have to provide notification if we intend to change that rate. Our recommendation would be that council pass a resolution to keep the franchise fee at the 10% and not change it for 2019. The customers pay that fee as part of their natural gas bills. So if you were to increase that, then that would have an effect on the
On the-
residents, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Any discussion on it?
Cool. Well, I'll move to keep the franchise fee percentage the same at 10%. For all those cucumbers out there.
Question?
Moved by Counselor Zimmer to keep the franchise fee percentage the same at 10% for 2018 as per clause 4A of the natural gas distribution system franchise agreement with ATCO Gas and Pipelines Limited. Or for
Should
2019,
say
sorry,
2019.
10% for 2019.
Yeah.
Do we ask about the cucumbers or?
It's weird. What, is that their cheerleader team or?
Just had to throw
I'll
that
go
in.
cucumbers.
Okay, all in favor? Carried.
Somebody's making their grocery list while I take that up.
I like cucumber.
We can tell. It's right here.
Pretty girl.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long time before that goes away.
I know.
Okay, next is committee structures. As you know, we have some vacancies right now. Now, what I'm proposing here is I'm going to I'm gonna name some people to these vacant committees, and what I'd like to do is, I believe it's in October, we do a restructuring organizational meeting. Is
Yes,
it
we have
on
our
October?
annual organizational meeting before the end of October.
So the end of this month. And at that time, well, before that time, I would like you guys to take a look at where you're sitting on the committees. And if you have problems with it, or you feel you're overburdened, or, you know, could you let me know before I sit down and restructure them? I'm not gonna change much, but if there are some requests, I'd like to do it, you know,
Do it once.
do it once, but, and it does throw a kink into it because of the election coming up, so.
I'm just curious why you, my thought would be to not fill these until the new person comes on and
We're
gets
running
to
into
fit.
problems with some of them where we need the people there.
Okay,
So rather
That
than
was
just
gonna
do
be
a
my
couple of them,
question.
I'll just temporarily do them all.
okay.
Like, first one that comes to mind is the MPC. I mean, if we're short anybody, it can't function without the extra person. So it's becoming, you know, it's something we need to
It's
do right now.
impeding them moving forward?
Yeah, a couple of them,
Well, if anybody's missing, we don't have quorum, so.
yeah.
That's right.
And
Okay.
like the Joint Economic Development Initiative, the JEDI, like we met today, well, I filled that hole.
Yeah.
Because we can't even meet, we don't have the, so
Okay.
there's a
All
few
right.
of them that have to be taken care of. Alberta Southwest
do
is
it.
another one. So we're just gonna do them all,
Okay,
and then we'll adjust them once we get another counselor and. But in the meantime, if you guys would think about the positions you're in,
Mhm.
and if you have some thoughts,
Mhm.
please let me know so I can, when I restructure, I can take the best I can, take you into account. Okay, well, we'll go through them and I'll name who I'm thinking for each one. Alberta Southwest, I've already approached Brad, and he's agreed to take that one. Joint, the JEDI, and the JEDI is the group between us and the MD that meets about conflicting ideas that go back and forth between us. And I'm going to fill that position myself. The next one was the physician recruitment, and who did I put there? Craig. I'm putting you in there. And you probably won't meet,
No, that's fine.
but I just gotta, I gotta start filling them up. MPC, Keith. I wrote your name in there.
Yep, no worries.
And there was one more, wage negotiating committee. did not write anybody in there, because that one,
I'm already on that one, so
you,
I think me and
Brad.
Keith. Oh, it's Brad.
There's already two of us.
Keep getting you guys mixed up. on
We
my
do need
committees.
someone for that because the contract expires this year and we've just received notification that they're prepared to
Oh,
start
so
those
we need to fill it. So it comes down to eeny, meeny.
Whatever you want, babe.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Do you wanna do it?
I could do it,
Okay.
yeah. If that's
Okay.
okay.
You already picked
That's why I asked, yeah, so as we could
I'm
fill the
solid.
position.
It's just for a month or more, right?
We're going to be restructuring, but I need, this is, you're in there right now until.
Gotcha.
Okay, so now if we could get motions for each position, one after another, and vote on them. We'll start off with the Alberta Southwest. Somebody can make that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Carlson. Question?
Moved by Councillor Carlson to appoint Councillor Schlossberger to Alberta Southwest.
All in favor? Carried. The Jedi.
I'll move to appoint Mayor McPherson to the Joint Economic Development Initiative.
All in favor? Opposed? One opposed. Okay, the next one is Physician Recruitment Committee.
I make the motion, we assign Craig Zimmer to Physician Recruitment Committee.
All in favor? Carried. MPC?
I'll move to appoint, who did you pick for that one? This one.
Councillor Carlson.
Councillor Carlson.
This guy, that guy.
All in favor? Carried. Last one, Wage Negotiation Committee member.
I'll move to appoint Councillor Moore to the Wage Negotiating Committee. Ooh, because I'm on that one, can I?
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor? Carried. Okay. Request for decision, drafts of strategic plan.
Nice.
Marion, you wanna say anything about that?
So, yeah, on June 22nd, we met to do the strategic planning and the draft plan was presented to the August 13th council meeting. You asked for some additional time to review the draft, so it's before you there again. I guess I was looking to see if there was anything I missed out of our planning
didn't.
session, or if, we put some action items attached to those plans, so, we'll be able to move forward with reaching your goals based on those action items. So we'd be looking for a motion to approve that strategic plan tonight if you're comfortable with the plan.
I make a motion that we
Oh,
approve,
I think Craig's got something.
Well, we can have the emotion on
Yeah.
and then we can discuss.
discuss that.
Okay.
Okay, Craig. Sorry,
No.
Councillor Zimmer.
No, that's fine. In the strategic plan, I don't know if other people other than us read us, where we have under service clubs. If you actually go into our community directory in the service clubs, like where the Claire's Home Phone Book or the community directory is what I think they're calling it, we're actually missing a pile of service clubs
In the plan,
in this
Okay.
plan. So I don't know if
Okay.
we would rather, instead of listing all the service clubs in here, refer to the service clubs to the community directory so that everybody gets recognized.
Are all of them in the directory still functioning? Did you?
I'm sure if we, yes,
we can just,
they would
we
be.
can just link it, so we're not, we don't, as that changes, I think that's a good point, yeah.
That's a good catch.
Is that what you caught last time? Is that where your hesitancy was?
Yeah, well, I added a couple, then there was,
Did ya?
I was talking with Amanda. I was like, did we get them all? She's like, no.
Good job. Good job.
And that's all I picked up when I read it. Other than that, the rest of it I thought all looked great.
Oh, the Legion is basically a service club. They're not in there. Oh, there they are. Yeah, they are. Okay, any other comments? We'll add that. No comment?
Kind of reading it for months, hey, and it's changed a little bit, but I agree with everything in there.
Well, we helped write it. Well, we did write
Yeah,
it.
we
We
did.
didn't help. We should agree with what we wrote, but.
I
No, I
make,
think it lays it out pretty well.
Yep.
So.
I make the motion that we approve the town of Claresholm strategic plan as presented.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to approve the Town of Claresholm Strategic Plan 2017-2018 to 2020-2021 as presented.
With the changes though, right?
As amended.
As amended?
As amended.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Marion, you have an information brief on red lights, a red light district in Claresholm. Oh, I'm sorry. red-
I don't think I do. So as per council's direction, we investigated getting a red light camera at the stoplights on Highway 2. I had a conversation with the Solicitor General's office, and we don't qualify as having authority to do that. So some of the regulations around that is that we would either have to have our own municipal police force or have a contract with the RCMP, and because our population is under 5,000, we fall under the provincial contract with the RCMP. And the gentleman I spoke to is the director of that department, and he said he is not, there is no exemptions throughout the province for that. So he suggested that we work with the local RCMP to do some additional traffic enforcement. You know, we can always look at increasing our CPO1 services, either you know, with a shared service agreement with the other municipalities, which we've been talking about with our ICF discussions. And we'll just have to look at enforcement in that way. And that goes for, also goes for photo radar as well, so it all falls under the same guidelines.
Same guidelines.
Mm.
Okay, we'll take that for information. The BizBell program, we've had an overview of this before, have we not? The BizPal? I must have had it explained to me by somebody in the office then.
Yeah. So this is just for council's information. One of the strategic priorities is to continue to streamline our development processes. And so this is a program through Service Alberta. It's called BizPal, and it's an online service where there's links to our development process. So a business, potential business could research other municipalities along with Claresholm and determine what would be necessary if they wanted to start a business in Claresholm from a development perspective. So just another resource we want to make you aware of that we've connected with, and we now have connected on our website as well.
Nice.
So it's a link on our website.
Yeah, it actually links from them to us and us to them, so it's, and they track all those links and make sure that they're working, and so
And
we
then do
don't-
they give feedback reports of?
I don't know that we get feedback reports on it, but it's
Just another tool.
it's just
bridging
another
in.
tool within.
Okay.
Okay, information item is the council resolution status. Anything come out of there you guys noticed?
All look pretty good.
And
And,
then,
do we gotta make a motion to accept that?
no, it's information.
That's the other one that
It's an
we,
information brief, we don't need to accept it because it's all motions. But we do need a motion now to accept the information items that follow it.
maybe that's what I was thinking of.
That's what
Good.
you're thinking. So if somebody would like to make a motion to adopt the information items?
I'll make the motion that we adopt the information items as presented.
Is there anything came out of the information any of you guys want to ask questions about?
Yeah, the,
Draft.
only because I was there that one day where I noticed with the golf course one, when they're listing the stuff that they wanna fix, they break those little rubber things for the windows.
Oh, rubber things for the windows.
Remember the solid glass was
Oh,
vibrating?
that's all fixed.
That's fixed.
You're talking about the exterior glass rails. Yeah, no, I pointed that out,
Yep.
and they had Peter Quinn go over and fix it.
Perfect. We're golden then.
Anything else? Anything come up? Somebody can make a motion to accept the information items.
Gavin did.
I'll make the motion that we accept the information items.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, if somebody can make a motion to go on camera.
Make a motion that we go in camera. Sorry, Lisa.
You just beat Lisa by that much. Okay, all in favor of going in camera? Okay, camera off please, and we'll have a 10-minute recess. Okay, can I have a motion to come out of in camera?
Motion to come out.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, for the Economic Development Board, could I have a motion to appoint Jim Copeland?
I will make a motion to appoint James Copeland to the EDC.
All in favor? Okay, and could I get a motion for the FCSS appointment?
And I make a motion to appoint Vanessa,
Vanessa?
to FCSS. Mackin?
I think so.
Mackenzie.
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 Thank you. Vanessa McKenzie to FCSS.
Thank you.
All in favor? Carried. And that was it, right? So we don't have any other motions, so a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make the motion that we adjourn.
Boy, you've made a lot of motions.
Attaboy.
We are adjourned.
Out.
And we turn the camera off, please.